Check, check. Okay, guys, next order of business is the DAW, the Digital Audio Workstation that you're going to use. This is literally your recording studio. Back in the day, before, I guess you could kind of say software existed, or before it was introduced into audio work, people had hardware, physical hard things, mixing consoles and boxes that were equalizers and compressors, and just as speakers are physical things back in the day, if you wanted an EQ, you had to buy it, and it was a physical thing that you got. Nowadays, a couple $100, it's no longer a physical thing, it's virtual. So the two that I would recommend would be FL Studio and Ableton. Totally different reasons why, though. I use Ableton, but I also use Ableton because I get a very, very deep discount for being an employee of a certain company. So this $749 for Ableton Suite is completely irrelevant to me. With that said, I could probably survive with Standard. As a functioning electronic dance music artist that produces professional productions to the world often, I could probably use Standard and be more than okay. Because of years of producing and seeing how you can cut corners, I could probably even use Intro and be pretty okay and get the results. It would be more work, sort of, and I wouldn't have the luxury of being inefficient. And what I mean is, basically, I buy very good computers, and those good computers take on the weight of that which I would probably have to take on to be more frugal and efficient if I had something like Intro. But look at the price tag on it. It's very affordable. So keep that in mind when I say I like Ableton. It's extremely user-friendly, and they know that, and that's why they put the price tag on it. Between this and my 30-day power production course, you will fly, and you will fly high, very high. Okay? So, user-friendly, it kind of thinks like your mind naturally does, if that makes sense to you. So what you would want it to do, based on what you would do, like clicking or dragging or whatever you do on a computer, it sort of knows that, and the rules for it are the same as the rules in your mind. So it's user-friendly, it thinks generally like a human does, I find, so I like it. I don't know, though, if I didn't have the help that I do, if I would pay that price tag for it. I'd probably go for Standard, and maybe even be crazy enough to think about Intro and use Intro for a year. Figure out how to use Intro to make major sessions, and then maybe upgrade into Standard. But there is another option. FL Studio. As you can see, way cheaper, even for the top tier FL Studio. Way cheaper. The top tier of FL is the same price as the mid-tier Ableton. It's actually $50 cheaper. Here's the thing, though. There is like a cult army that loves FL Studio. I'm sure you already know this. You've seen it online. People love it. It's hard for me to understand immediately why, because to me it's just not nearly as user-friendly. Not nearly. So, but that's kind of true for a lot of DAWs. So it's not like FL Studio is cheap and super behind the times. It's more like Ableton is expensive and super ahead of the times. So what I mean by that is, there's more than two DAWs that you can buy. There's Studio One, there's Reason, Cubase, Pro Tools, FL Studio, of course, Ableton, of course. There's a lot. There's more than a handful out there. They all sort of sit in this middle ground. And what I mean by that is there's no two ways around it. It's a program. You're going to have to sit with it for a month to a year and just freaking learn it. There's just no two ways around it. It's like anything else in life, like driving. There's no two ways around it. If you want to drive, you're going to have to learn. Is it painful? Is it boring? Is it scary? It can be. I mean, it depends on your mindset. So just get out of the mindset, if you're in it, that there's like a solution that immediately you download and you can just know it instantly and you're making full-on productions. With anything in life, it just doesn't happen, you know? But Ableton is the front runner on that, which is why their top tier is $750, because that's the one that you could download and likely get up and moving quickly. And especially if you have a mentor and a course to follow along like mine, you'll fly. Now, with FL though, it's way cheaper. And it is damn good. It's not like this is crap. It really isn't. There's a cult army that believes in this product over Ableton. It's just that my personal findings have found that Ableton is user-friendly, it thinks like I think, so it's intuitive, and I can just get going on it. FL, I looked at it, I tried it for a week, and I was like, it's a DAW, I can produce music in this, but I need longer times with it, and I need someone to really teach me and show me. But that was true for Ableton as well. I mean, it's easy to forget, 5 or 6 years ago when I switched over from Logic, actually, Apple's DAW, to Ableton, there was a learning curve. No matter what you buy, there's going to be a learning curve. It's just that Ableton is just very intuitive. So, but with FL, I tried it. It's the kind of thing I just need to spend a year chipping away at, watching tutorials, maybe even, getting help from an FL expert and get up and going quickly. It's not that it's a bad product. There are countless productions that come out every single day that were produced exclusively in FL Studio. So you're not getting an inferior product. It really just depends on what you prefer and what your mind, what your eye, and what your fingers like as far as the layout, how you function, and how you think. I'm pretty sure that both companies allow you to try it for free for probably, 30 to maybe even 90 days. So go try them and see what you think. You're new, likely, so both are going to be clunky to you. Both are going to look weird. Both are going to get you frustrated because you're learning something new. But at least for now with Ableton, you have my courses to directly follow along with, but you can also take that same info and plug it into any DAW, whether it's Pro Tools, FL Studio, Cubase, Logic. The audio principles and rules are the same. It's just how do you do it in that DAW. Once again, like driving, the rules of the road do not change. It's just, are you more comfortable on a motorcycle, a truck, or a stick shift? There's really no right or wrong. It just depends on what you prefer. Take them all out for a test drive, see what you like, and I can almost guarantee you that you will likely change as time moves on, like I did. I started off with Pro Tools because I went to Berklee and that's what they taught. As I got deeper into electronic dance music and there were some major changes at that time in technology, I realized that nobody was using Pro Tools in my corner of the music industry. Got away from that, was an Apple guy, got right into Logic since Apple offered it. It was great. Realized that Apple as a company had changed. And I mean, this is kind of the thing, guys, like technology changes. So it's not a buy once and forget it. Music and technology are fiercely intertwined, so you have to kind of prepare yourself. You're going to have problems, you're going to have frustrations, you're going to become an amateur working expert in computer software and technology troubleshooting. It happens with this stuff. So try them both, see which one you like. You might even try other ones that I talked about. Logic is off limits to us if you're building a PC gaming tower because it's Mac only. The other DAWs, for the most part, are both, which is cool. So even if you're watching this with a Mac, you can use FL Studio. You can use Ableton. If you have a PC, same thing. You can use FL Studio, you can use Ableton. If you're on Mac and you use Logic and you want to switch to a PC, you cannot take Logic with you over to the PC world. So little quirks like that are what trips you up, and you realize, oh, that's a couple $100 down the drain and a year's worth of learning something new. It sucks, guys. I get it. It's just the way it is. So I would stick to more flexible options like FL Studio or Ableton. FL is cheaper. To me, not as intuitive, but for this price, as I understand it, you get lifetime updates. Ableton, a lot more expensive, but way more intuitive, but you do not get lifetime updates. Every time they come out with an update, like right now Ableton 10 is the one that's out. When they come out with Ableton 11, if you want Ableton 11, you need to pay for Ableton 11. FL's not like that. When they come out with a new one, what you paid originally is what you get. You have lifetime updates. You'll never get charged more again. Or at least for now, that's what it is. So I hope they keep it that way because I think they've really won on that aspect. And at some point, I am going to learn FL and put out tutorials with it as well because things are expensive in the audio world, and a one-time fee of $2.99 for a lifetime of updates is pretty darn good, even though it's less intuitive. That will matter less and less and less and eventually become irrelevant because you'll learn the program. Once you learn the program, none of that really matters. Well, it's really intuitive. Yeah, that's nice and alleviates frustration when you're first learning. Once you learn it, though, it doesn't really matter if it's intuitive or not. The rules are the rules, and you follow them, and you get your work done. So, all right, guys, go pick a DAW, go try them, see what you think.